By now, everybody knows there was a midair collision in D.C. between a passenger plane and the Army Blackhawk helicopter. Over 65 people were lost. And frankly, I think that number is probably going to increase, depending on how many people were in the passenger plane. But what we do know, there are 3 United States Army servicemen who are in the chopper, all lost. Now, you would think that this is a time for people to be mourning, a time for people to try to move forward, and more to the point, a time to get answers as to why and how this happened. But unfortunately, that's not what's happening now. Donald Trump, the man we have to call president, well, I'm not calling him president, I call him Chancellor Trump, the head of the Trump regime, the Trump dictatorship, decided to have a press conference about this crash. And he read a prepared statement that was nothing more than fake platitudes about holding these victims close to our hearts and whatnot. And then he went on to his racist rant about blaming DEI, diversity, equality, and inclusion, as the chief reason for this tragedy that took place.
Office, they put a big push to put diversity into the FAA's program. Then another article, the Federal Aviation Administration, this was before I got to office, recently, second term. The FAA is actively recruiting workers who suffer severe intellectual disabilities, psychiatric problems, and other mental and physical conditions under a diversity and inclusion hiring initiative spelled out on the agency's website. Can you imagine? These are people that are, actually their lives are shortened because of the stress that they have. Brilliant people have to be in those positions, and their lives are actually shortened, very substantially shortened because of the stress, where you have many, many planes coming into one target.
Just say it, Trump. Just say what is on the tip of your fucking tongue. You're blaming people of color, especially black people and women who are in those positions. And the joke of it is, the real joke to all of this is that this is exactly 1 week, just 1 week after you did a purge of people of color and women in high federal positions. But let me remind you all of what Donald Trump did on the second day of his regime. He fired the head of the Transportation Security Administration, the TSA. And now he's thinking about eliminating the TSA altogether and putting their responsibility in the hands of the airlines. Idiot. He fired the entire Aviation Security Advisory Committee, which probably will be a contributing factor for something like this happening all over again. And third, he did a hiring freeze of all air traffic controllers. And sooner or later, if this investigation points to air traffic controllers, whether it was military or civil, more people are not going to become air traffic controllers. And you fired 100 top FAA security officers, FAA, of course, being Federal Aviation Administration. So Trump, in all actuality, you are responsible for this. But then you go on your racist tyrant, and you got the director of transportation, you got your vice president and your secretary of defense, all 3 of them scumbags, following in that racist dog whistle of yours. The investigation has barely begun, and already you've determined it's the blacks, it's the Mexies. Damn those people of color, damn those bitches, those women. Trump, you see, I have no sympathy for anyone who voted for Donald Trump after this shit. Because we tried to warn you that this is what he is. Taking an enormous tragedy like this, over nearly 70 people lost their lives. And the only thing you're obsessed with is trying to find someone else to blame. You're trying to blame someone else. You're trying to blame the colored people, the women. You're trying to blame DEI for this. We don't know what happened. The investigation has barely begun. And already you go into the racist dog whistle. But I get the feeling that they know what happened and why this happened. They just don't want to tell us. And this whole thing about ranting about DEI from Trump, from his vice president, J.D. Vance, and that idiot Pete Hegseth, it all smells and stinks of a cover-up. It's easy to blame people of color. It's easy to blame the women instead of actually doing the job and investigating. But you don't want to do that, Trump, because you're too stupid, you're too lazy, and you're too hateful to do the job. I honestly don't think we're going to survive 4 years of this crap. It was a minor miracle that we made it through the first 4 years. I don't see us making it through the next 4. Or however long Donald Trump is in office. Because when you have someone like this who sees a tragedy of this scale and tries to make political hay out of it by blaming minorities and women, it shows to me that he's desperate, and it also shows that he and his supporters are stupid. And quite honestly, I don't know which one it is, or it may be all of it. But in the end of the day, this is who he is. And by extension, this is who the MAGA are. All of you supporters, this is what you are. And there's no getting away from that. So the next time something like this happens and you feel the need to say something, Trump, or you, MAGA, keep your fucking mouth shut. Because there's nothing you can contribute but show how stupid you idiots really are. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.